Hello and welcome to this session. This is Farhat, in which we would look at auditing purchase transaction. Now obviously auditing the purchase transaction is part of the acquisition and expenditure cycle. The acquisition is what? Is purchasing, and expenditure is the payment. We will focus specifically on the acquisition cycle, the acquisition, the purchase transaction. Now, you guessed it. In the next session, I'm going to look at the expenditure cycle, which is called the cash disbursement, when you actually cut the check. So first, we want to make sure we are auditing properly the purchases. Then what comes after purchases? The disbursement. Now, after you purchase, you have an accounts payable. We already dealt with accounts payable in the prior recording. Now we're focusing on the purchase transaction itself. So auditor performs substantive procedures to validate key financial statements assertions. What are they? Accuracy, completeness, cutoff, existence, classification of purchases. So we have to make sure that they're accurate, complete, proper cutoff, existing, and classification. Now keep in mind, the procedures that we do here, they could also serve as a dual purpose test. It means they could also serve for testing or evaluating internal control effectiveness. So what I would do, I will look at an assertion, look at an audit procedure for purchase transactions, then give you an example to illustrate this concept. So I'm just focusing on the purchases themselves. Let's go ahead and get started. Before we proceed any further, I have a public announcement about my company, farhatlectures.com.
Hello, my name is Farhat. You are here because you are either an accounting student, a finance student, or someone who's studying for their CMA or CPA exam. Great. You are looking for some additional help, and we can help you. I strongly encourage you to visit my website, farhatlectures.com. I offer additional lectures, resources, including PowerPoint slides, multiple choice questions, in some circumstances, exercises, and true-false questions. Our material is aligned with your CPA review courses, with your CMA review courses, with your college courses. I offer a risk-free trial that you can try to find out whether my website can help you or not. If you find it helpful, you subscribe, you keep your subscription. If not, you cancel, and your risk is free. If you like this recording, if you like my lectures, you would like what's on the website, give me a chance to help you with your college courses as well as professional certification. I hope to see you on the website.
I always like to start with valuation, allocation, and accuracy. Why? Because it's the easiest assertion to explain. So if let's assume you just clicked on this video, it's like, okay, what are we talking about when we talk about valuation, allocation, and accuracy assertion? It means that the transaction are properly recorded properly, like we have the correct dollar amount. The valuation and accuracy assertion is that purchases transaction are recorded at the correct amount and reflect the actual cost incurred by the company. Are we recording the transaction at the proper amount? And think about this for a moment. Every transaction, practically every transaction, every balance account should have the proper valuation allocation. Why? Because if it's in the proper amount, it's incorrect. What are some audit procedures that we can perform? Well, we could recompute. If we're looking for valuation, allocation, and accuracy, recompute the vendor invoice to confirm mathematical accuracy, because we want to make sure we're looking at the numbers and the numbers are recorded properly in the system. Verification of purchase discounts. If they're giving us purchase discount, we're making sure we're taking this purchase discount, computing the proper discount. If there's any freight cost, it's included in the proper place. Any tax calculation is also computed properly. Also, when we make a purchase, oftentimes or sometime we return some items, or the vendor might give us an allowance, or if there's any defective goods, we have to account for that. So what do? Is we look at these transactions, compute them, make sure they are recorded properly. For example, a company purchases raw material for $50,000 with a 5% rate discount. So the correct amount that should be recorded is the net amount, which is $50,000 minus 5%. What would happen is the auditor will review the invoice and accounting record to confirm what amount is recorded, 47,500. So we will take a calculator. This is 50,000. Take 5% out. What's left is the amount that it should be reported on. Another assertion is all the transactions for purchases are reported. The completeness assertion. All purchases should be recorded properly in the financial statement. All of them. We're not leaving anything out. It's basically, if a transaction is omitted, an expense and a liability might be understated. So we're not missing any transactions. So what audit procedures do we have to do when we test for completeness? Well, we are going to select a sample of purchase vouchers. Okay? If we have a purchase vouchers, what does that mean? It means we have a purchase, we have a receiving report, we have a vendor invoice. And we're going to trace them to the purchase journal to make sure they have been recorded. So if we have a receiving report, a purchase order, a vendor invoice, great. Are these recorded? But are they recorded? So this is what we do. We'll start with the financials. We start with the document and we go back to the record and make sure that they are recorded. So the auditor verifies also the pre-number sequence of purchase orders, receiving report and vouchers to detect any missing transaction. So we would look at, there's also a cutoff. Basically, we say, okay, this is the last purchase order we should have, and make sure this purchase order and anything that preceded this purchase order should be recorded in this period, and we want to make sure that's the case. Say, purchase order, receiving report, and voucher to detect any missing transaction, because if everything is pre-numbered, then we are accounting for everything. So pre-numbered documents always help with completeness. Remember that. There's also the cutoff assertions. What is the cutoff assertions? The cutoff assertions is making sure that purchase transactions are recorded in the proper, correct accounting period, because we could have, yearly, we have period 1 and period 2. Transaction should be in period 1, should be only recorded in period 1, and transaction in period 2 should be recorded in period 2. So incorrect cutoff procedures can distort financial result around year end. So when you are doing cutoff, you are looking at year end and you're examining transaction before and after to determine whether these transaction indeed belongs to period 1, or should they be in period 2, or whatever in period 2, should it be in period 2, or should it be in period 1? How do we confirm this? Well, we compare the transaction date on sample of vouchers with the dates recorded in the purchase journal. We look at the voucher, we look at the source document. We say, okay, based on the dates of these documents, the transaction should be in period 1. Let's see if it's in period 1. Or based on these dates, the transaction should be in period 2. Then let's see if it's in period 2. So examination purchases recorded at the end of the current period and at the beginning of the next period to determine if the transaction were recorded in the prior period, in the proper period. So we would look at documents, purchases right before year end and right after year end. We could also review shipping terms, and we talked about this, about the shipping terms when we looked at the cutoff for, you guessed it, for inventory, FOB shipping point, FOB destination, to establish the correct recognition period. Now, again, I'm not going to go over this in details, but I have one whole session about the cutoff assertion when it comes to inventory, explaining what the cutoff is. Because when you do the cutoff for inventory, it's basically, in a sense, you're doing the cutoff for purchases. So you want to make sure you know the difference between FOB shipping, FOB destination. Real quick, FOB shipping means what? It means as soon as it leaves the seller. If it's FOB shipping, it's yours. It doesn't matter when you receive it. FOB destination, it's not really your inventory until you got it, until you received it. So you want to make sure you understand the difference. A company received inventory on December 29th, but recorded the purchase on January of the following year. Is this correct? No. If the terms were FOB shipping point, the purchase should have been recorded in December. The auditor verifies whether the transaction is reported in the correct financial period. And we worked an example illustrating those FOB shipping, FOB destination that are important. But here, clearly, you received it in December. Let's assume you purchased it December 29th, FOB shipping point. If it's FOB shipping point, Well, you purchased it, it's yours December 29th because it's a FOB shipping point. It doesn't matter when you received it because if it's FOB shipping, it's your inventory. But here you received the inventory. It's definitely yours. You cannot record it in January. Let's take a look at this multiple choice question from farhatlectures.com. Which of the following answer choice support the completeness assertion in auditing the acquisition and the payment cycle? So here we're looking at the best answer choice that support completeness. The problem with auditing questions, especially on the CPA exam, is maybe all four are correct by themselves. Okay, A is a correct statement, B is a correct statement, C is a correct statement, D is a correct statement. But each one of them is supporting some other assertion. So you have to be very careful because they all sound correct. It's like ChatGPT. They sound correct, but you don't know if it's correct or not. So this is the problem with the auditing questions. Okay, so A, tracing inventory acquisition from inventory master file to the receiving report. What are we doing here? We're tracing inventory acquisition from the inventory master file. If it's in the inventory master file, then it's there. What are we looking for if it's there? We're not looking for completeness. If it's in the inventory master file, okay, it's already there, and now we're looking at a receiving report to make sure that this inventory we did actually receive it. Now that's all what's going on. We're looking for for support and document for something that's on the books. Okay, so that's not for completeness. Recomputing the clerical accuracy on the vendor's invoice, including discounts and freight. Yes, that's a great thing to do, but is this addressing completeness? So this is addressing valuation, allocation, and accuracy. So A is out, B is out. C, accounting for numerical sequence of purchase order, receiving report, and vouchers. Would that help with completeness? Yes. Every time you see accounting for numerical sequence, accounting for all the purchase orders up to a date. Why? Because we want to make sure we're accounting for everything up to that date. Are we missing anything? All the receiving report and all the voucher. And what's happening, it's not only accounting for them, make sure we have all three, they match. And if they all match, if we received something, we make sure we have it, and we have a purchase order, we have a voucher. And as long as we're accounting for everything, to make sure we have everything. Completeness. I would say between A, B, and C, I will keep C for now. D, examining the procedural manual and the chart of account. Yes, that's good to do that, but basically here, the chart of account to make sure it's classified in the proper account. Is this going to help me with completeness? No, it's going to help me with whether it's classified properly or not. Therefore, D is out. So notice A, B, C, and D, they're all correct answer choices. It's not like one of them does not make any sense. It should not be there. They're all there, serving different assertions, but you're looking for the completeness. Therefore, you have to identify the completeness, and that's one of the most challenging thing for students on the audit exam is you have to understand what you are being asked. You have to understand every answer choice. So it's a bit more challenging to eliminate answer choices because all four statements could be correct on their own. But which one is addressing my question? So if you don't understand that, you will fall fairly quickly. What should you do? farhatlectures.com. Additional resources that's going to help you whether you are an accounting student, CPA exam candidate. Invest in yourself. That's the best investment you can make, and stay safe.